Hey guys, my name is David and welcome back to my channel. Before I get into this whole video, I just want to make two things clear. One, I've just come back home from work, so it's night and I wouldn't say I'm tired, but yeah. And second, I have got a little bit of I wouldn't say a sore throat, but the beginning of a sore throat. But I've got some hot tea, so hopefully it will be okay in this video. So today I'm going to be reviewing a Neil Gaiman book. Yes, I wanted to slip another one in there before the end of the year. That sounded a bit naughty when I came to think about it. And that book being Odd and the Frost Giants. I was planning to read this one, but next year, but I thought, you know, why not? I'll read it, I'll give it a try. This is a hardback edition, and this one is illustrated by Chris Riddle, who did the illustrations for, well, one of the versions of the Graveyard book. And he does such beautiful illustrations, and they are pretty much on every single page, and they're all in black and white, and they have all this silvering, silver gilding all around it as well. I mean, that's kind of like the cherry on top of the cake. You didn't have to do that. They could have just like made it grey, but made it all shiny, made it all, feel that much more special. And this is some more of the pictures in it. And there we go. And the cover as well, that's the front and that's the back. And when you open this up, it has that on it as well. So it's like a real nice touch. So this is one of Neil Gaiman's children's books, or a book for younger readers. And I read this for the Christmas Evil Readathon, even though it's not strictly a horror book, but it fulfilled the prompt of Winter Wonderland, a book set in winter, or read a book set in winter time. And because this is entirely set in, well, two different worlds, but they are all covered with snow and ice. So this fulfills that prompt. So this is going to be, as always, a spoiler-free video, and this is going to be my own thoughts and feelings regarding this book. So this revolves around the main character of Odd, who is a young boy at the start, and this whole world is set in Norse mythology, Vikings and all that type of stuff. Odd, he is a very, I want to say, odd character, but he seems to be more the runt of the litter. His parents, seem to be unusual. His mother seems to be all nice and gentle, and his father is like a real, we'll say a man's man, but he seems to be more tough and no nonsense. And because of Odd's structure and his, because he's slimmer and smaller than all the other boys, I don't know, his father probably thinks that he's a weakling and, the runt of the litter. And it probably doesn't help matters when Odd accidentally breaks his leg or his ankle, and throughout the majority of this book he's walking around with a crutch or a stick of some sort. So at the start of the book we are introduced to Odd's biological parents, and Odd's biological father died. It's not really much of a spoiler, it happens at the beginning of the book. And Odd is wandering around the forest one day and he comes across his father's cottage that is completely covered with snow and ice and forgotten about. He goes into the cabin and explores and tries to, reconnect with his deceased father. But Odd's world gets literally turned upside down when he discovers a fox, an eagle, and a bear that he encounters in the woods one day, and they follow him back to the cabin, his father's cabin where he's staying and living. And Odd invites these animals into the cabin, probably because it's freezing cold outside. And while he's lying in bed, he hears voices. Well, he doesn't think he hears voices. He knows he's not dreaming, and he's lying in bed, fully awake, and he's hearing voices, and he knows that it's the animals. So he tells them, look, we are the only people, or the only, yeah, living beings in this cabin, and I heard someone talking. It wasn't me, so it's got to be you guys. So with them found out and discovered, they put their hands up or their paws up or whatever and say, yeah, we were talking, and it comes to the realization of Odd that these animals aren't what they appear to be. No. They are for Loki and Odin, the All-Father, that were turned or tricked into being turned into animals by the frost giants, which reside in Asgard. And I won't say exactly how these gods were turned into animals and why the frost giants did it, but the frost giants and the Asgardians seem to be, I won't say at war, but they keep on butting heads with each other. The frost giants aren't the villains of the story. They aren't evil, but because of their appearance, they are just, presumed to be the bad guys and evil. It's just a matter of perspective, I suppose. So Odd goes back with Thor, Loki, and Odin back to Asgard to basically free them from this curse and to restore Asgard to its former glory. That's as far as I want to go with explaining this story, because it's really short. You could probably read this in one sitting. It's not recommended. Well, I personally don't recommend it. I would recommend it more if you would savor this story and just take it slow and enjoy it. I haven't read many of Neil Gaiman's work. Mostly his adult stuff I want to focus more on. This is more along the lines of the Graveyard Book, even though the Graveyard Book is a bit more interesting and enjoyable in my personal opinion. But this one has loads of charm in it. It's not a masterpiece, but it does have a lot of elements in there that I really enjoyed. And because it focuses around Thor, Loki, and Odin, I kept on being reminded of the Marvel movies and then characters within the movies. I know that Neil has written another Norse mythology book. I can't remember exactly what it's called. I do have it in my room, but I will put a picture up here so you know what I mean. So I guess that if you have them two books, there would be like a nice companion to read both these books back to back or together. When it comes to Greek mythology, I don't think you're really going to learn anything, but I really enjoyed it. It just didn't really blow me away. I do like the characters of the Greek gods, although they aren't really fleshed out as much, as well as our main character Odds. We don't really spend a lot of time with him, knowing him as a character, and there's not much of a character progression. Yes, he does change from the start of the book to the end of the book. There's like a character arc where he's completely different or different in some aspects. But I don't know, there wasn't really anything there for me to really, get attached to this character. So yeah, I think that's all I had to say really. I could go on a little bit more, but there isn't really much else to it, as from what I've actually told you anyway. Let me know if you've read this book. Let me know what you thought about it. Did you like it? Did you not like it? As I said, the artwork in it is so good. Look at that. Look at that. I mean, you can just look at these beautiful pieces of art and just, enjoy them, let your eye wander, look around the borders and discover new details that you may have not noticed before. And it's something really ideal, especially something to read during this cold time. Well, if you're in a country where it's really cold right now, because over here it's freaking freezing. So when it comes to what I'm going to rate Odd and the Frost Giants by Neil Gaiman, I am going to give it a 4 stars out of 5. And I cannot wait to read more from Neil Gaiman. I think the next one I'll probably be reading from him is Neverwhere. So once again, let me know, have you read this book? What did you think about it? And have I maybe encouraged you and inspired you to read it? I just want to touch on the fact that because this is illustrated by Chris Riddle, please do not presume that all versions of this book are going to be illustrated. That's something that you would have to look into, because I know that there are other books by Neil Gaiman that are illustrated by different people. But I just love Chris's illustrations. They are so detailed, and yeah, there's someone that you can just connect with. I mean, look at the bear, which is 4. Look at the pain in his eyes. You would think that 4 would be like his really, really proud, fierce warrior that would just, charge into battle without a moment's notice. And look at that bear's eyes. He is so sweet and gentle, even though he's like a pretty much, like a BFG. I mean, he is so gentle. So guys, that's it. That's all I really had to mention about this wonderful book, or interesting book. Let me know what you have read by Neil Gaiman, and yeah, let me know if you have any more recommendations outside of American Gods and Neverwhere. So with all that out of the way, I will see you in my next video.